Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Pretty Good Podcast 15, I think. 15. Pretty Good Podcast 15. You know, we've been talking for a while that we're going to redo this format of this podcast, but that's not today. Welcome to the old, new Pretty Good Podcast.
So if you didn't like it before, click off the video.
This one's staying the same, and we will rework it one of these days.
If you didn't like it before, it's because,
You're dumb.
well, that, and you just didn't watch the right episode, but this is the correct episode.
This is the best episode we've ever done, I believe.
Yeah, we set out for that. So
I would agree.
So, I covered this shortly on the other podcast that shall not be named.
Naturally.
Naturally. I acquired the Lego T-Rex Rampage Lego set. Original, like $200. I had
Yes.
it was discontinued in like 2019. It is the Jurassic Park gate, like this high, this wide, and comes with the big ass T-Rex with it. It's a set I've always wanted, and it has like all the characters from the first movie.
You have been pining for that for quite some time.
Yeah, but like originally it sold for like 200 or 250, and people sell it on eBay for like 400, 450, 500 even sometimes. So I finally got a guy to sell it to me for a reasonable price, and I was so excited to build this thing, and it was awesome. But I had to get it in just a mass bag because someone previously built it, where it's 3,200 pieces, and it would be like, find this 1x1 stud, and then I would just have this bin of 3,000 pieces in front of me. And
it's a nightmare.
but I did finally finish it, and it is, in my opinion, the best Lego set ever made.
Nice. Well,
Any other exciting Lego
even
sets?
better than Baby Yoda?
Yeah. Any other exciting Lego sets? I did my count the other day, and I'm up to either 27 or 28.
Well, to be honest with you, I very recently built this Darth Vader head that's over here. I really like him. But I also got...
Didn't some douchebag buy that for you?
Yeah. So I think that's actually not the one I was trying to think of. For this Christmas, I got a Mandalorian head version of that.
Didn't some douchebag buy that for you?
Yeah, right.
It wasn't
Our
me.
boy Adam. Shout out to Napoleon Washington episode, but of a random podcast. Adam got me the Mando head Lego, and I got a couple other ones, but I haven't been building them recently because I'm in the process of moving to a different, an undisclosed location right now. Yeah, I'm moving to. I don't have a joke prepared. Cairo Station. I don't throw that out there.
Those Halo jokes every time.
They land every time.
So the other reason I brought that up too is because there's also going to be, this is the 30th anniversary of Jurassic Park. This is Lucas's corner where I talk about the shit that I care about. And they're going to be doing some like 30th anniversary sets this year, which I'm pretty excited about. They got the one with the T-Rex and the visitor center at the end with the when dinosaurs walked the earth, the banner coming down. But there was also a recent study that I was looking up that scientists are now speculating that the Tyrannosaurus Rex could be 70% bigger than they originally thought.
Really?
Making it even bigger. Yeah, it's a pretty cool study. So check that out. Just came out. Dinosaurs are the shit. What games you boys been playing?
So this is actually a relevant question for the Pretty Good because I was asked a while ago about I talked about New Vegas because I played Fallout 4 and it was the first Fallout game I've played and I really liked it. So everybody says New Vegas is the best one, so I went and played that, and I guess I just wasn't in the right zone for it because I ended up not enjoying it. I played it for like a couple days and then I got to the point where I was real low on health. I was low on supplies. Caesar's Legion kept coming after me and killing me. So I took like a year away from it. And then very recently started playing it again. And I've really, really been enjoying it. I've been playing it every chance I get. I've been super busy lately with like work and moving and all that. But any free time I get, I put on New Vegas and I've been playing. And I know I'm late to the party on it. Shocker. But it's really good.
You know the doc who patches you up in the beginning?
Yeah, Doc Mitchell.
Yeah, there used to be a glitch with him, and I don't remember what would trigger it, but his head would spin in a circle while he was talking to you.
that, yeah.
It was hilarious.
So I forget that actor's name. If I hadn't just closed my computer, I could Google it. But if you've watched Battlestar Galactica, like the remake series from early 2000s, he plays Colonel Ty, which is a very major character on the show, and that guy I don't. It must be like a bit with Bethesda because he shows up. He plays one voice in like every single Bethesda game. He does like one character. So he's Doc Mitchell. In Skyrim, he is who's the guy that fights against the General Tullius? He's General Tullius in Skyrim, and I don't know the other ones off the top of my head, but he shows up in like for one voice in like every game.
Yo, Doc Mitchell's an asshole because he's like, anytime you need patched up, come see me. And he charges you like 300 caps if you want patched up.
Welcome to America, baby.
Yeah, Doc Mitchell's an asshole. That's why when the Powder Gangers showed up, first chance I got, I put a bullet in his fucking. Kidding. I'm
I
playing.
sided with the Powder Gang.
Yeah, I'm playing as a good character this first round. Now I would like to be able to roll with every faction as long as possible, get the most XP, until I have to make a choice. Powder Gangers were the only ones. I didn't think about it when I did the mission. So apparently you can either do the Powder Gangers missions before the Good Springs battle, or if you recruit all the members of Good Springs, they can kill the Powder Gangers without you killing one, so you don't lose rep. I ran up point blank 20 gauge shotgun headshot to every like the town's fighting them. I just run up one at a time like VATS. So far I've managed to stay neutral or friendly with every faction except the Powder Gangers, who I'm vilified by, and they're like the one fucking faction in the game where there's like no extra missions. I rescued a couple prisoners from Caesar's camp, and that still didn't get me out of vilified status. So
You can wear their outfit though.
So you can wear their outfits so they don't shoot at you. However, you can't get into the prison unless you're doing like, some cheesing. Like you gotta like, but if you stealth kill this guy real quick or kill all the guards, then you can like get to the boss and activate and I'm not doing that. So what happens is there's certain high-ranking characters that will see through the disguise, and one of those guys is the fucking gate guard at the prison. So anytime you walk up with, even your outfit on, he'll just immediately be like, "Hey, what?" I remember the first time I went up there, I was like, "Oh, this should work. I should be able to walk right in." And I just hear him go, "What the fuck?"
Here's what you do.
He just starts unloading on me.
You blow that guy up, then you immediately change into their outfit to, where'd that guy go? There's our friend over there.
The problem is when he sets off...
What was your name?
You have to do it a certain way. Like, I could probably snipe him and maybe get in, but I'm so busy. There's so much other shit to do in the game. I don't have time to worry about the fucking Powder Gangers.
Can I make a stat
You know what I
correction
mean?
on myself real quick? I'm pretty sure I said when dinosaurs walked the earth. It's when dinosaurs rolled the earth.
It is
and it's eating me away inside right now. I'm just thinking about it.
You're okay.
I knew that.
Now I just look like a jackass.
That's what I've been playing. Beloved New Vegas. Really enjoying it. I'll keep you updated when I beat it, guys. How about the rest of you guys?
Warzone Cup. Bring it back.
Warzone Cup was probably the most fun I had over winter break. I'm not even gonna lie. I love that mode.
Please
But
explain it for people who don't, for low lives who don't know what it is.
shut up, Babu. Warzone Cup is a straight up ripoff of Rocket League that COD had to cross promote with like the World Cup, and it was magical. It was the most fun I had in a COD. We played it as a goof just to see how it was. And we were putting off other things to play more Warzone Cup. It was so great.
I
But
had to go to a party and I was just, I don't want to go to the party. I'm just going to cancel. I don't want to go. I just want to keep playing Warzone Cup.
we were undefeated. Yeah, so that was fun, but that was a while ago. In the meantime, I've been streaming KOTOR 1. Been enjoying that. The game finally opened up for me, so that's good. And also, on a personal note, I'm getting through my backlog. I finished Yakuza 6, which is the final mainline Yakuza I needed to play.
Damn.
So now I just got to play Judgment 1, 2, and then the new Ishin that just came out like last week. So,
Damn.
but
Don't worry. By the time you finish those, they'll come out with 3 more.
well, I mean, the 2024 they're coming out with Yakuza 8 basically, but
So you got time.
I do got time, yeah, and because it took me about 2 years to get here, and that's like taking breaks and stuff because those games in a way are kind of long. They're definitely worth it though. I think Kiryu is like the main character. He is probably my new favorite video game character. I think he's so cool. Because he reminds me a lot of Superman. Like, I think you told me this, and I think it's a good way to think about it. With Superman, when I used to think when I was a kid, like, oh, he's so boring because he's like good at everything, he's perfect.
White bread.
Yeah.
But that's what makes him interesting is playing with his humanity in those moments. And with Kiryu, he's like this unstoppable monster. But what makes him interesting is that he's like this super humble guy, like not proud at all. And he's like, you think he would just be like on to beat the shit out of everybody, but really he's constantly trying to avoid his reputation that he gains for being invincible.
It's a cool examination of a character because they're basically like an adult in a room full of children. And so it's like, what do you do, when you're like bigger, faster, and stronger,
Yeah, and those moments when he does like,
how do you handle
cut
the
loose?
bad kid in class, right? Like,
Right. And what's great is not to like spoil minor cool parts about the end of Yakuza 6, which by the way, there's not a lot of continuity between games. Like I was surprised. I thought it would be like a constant story, but most of the games are like self-contained, even the last one, which was interesting. But
You can watch cam girls in that game, right?
you can. I sent you guys a screenshot, and there is a cam girl mini game where you have to like type, like respond with the live chat, and the writing is like,
Sorry, I'm distracted by your teacher.
Nami, One Piece.
yeah. But the writing is like perfect for the chat is so realistic. It's like scary how like they copied like a lot what a live chat would look like. So mini games are awesome, but yeah, I really like those games. Oh, and the last mission though, Kiryu is he's like constantly trying to run away. He's known as the Dragon of Dojima. That's like his nickname, and everybody is like scared of him, and he's constantly trying to get away from that and separate from that. And there's this dude who fucks with his family and is just like trying to ruin his life basically. And he's like, this guy's like, oh, I'm gonna kill you. And then Kiryu gets so pissed off, and the objective at the top right corner is just says, he is nothing to me. And I was like, I was like talking to myself in the game. I'm like, beat the fuck, like unironically, like, yeah. I'm gonna beat the fuck out of you, fuck you. And I was like, like I was so into it, like it was so sick. So
what, the cam girl chat?
Yeah. So
that was for 5 minutes, and then he was like, what have I done? All right, let me get back to the game.
Yeah. So I mean, it's a big commitment, obviously. Also, this is the last thing I say on video game talk for me. My order recommendation, I would start with Yakuza 7, Like a Dragon, even though it's it's turn-based, so it's very different than the others. I think it's a good entry point for the series. I would then do Yakuza 1, it's a very short game, relatively, then 0, and then 2, and then 3, 4, 5, 6.
Got it.
It's like the debate over what to watch, what order to watch the Star Wars film.
It is, because what's tricky is normally I just play in the order they release, but when they remastered 1 and 2, which is what's on Game Pass, they reference Yakuza 0 and the other remasters, so you really can't pick a correct option, of like just seeing, whatever. So that makes it difficult, but yeah, I recommend it if you're interested at all. I think that series is worth it.
Brandon, what are you playing?
I actually tuned in to another Xenu stream of Dan playing Mech Warrior 5.
A lot of that seemed popular. Like other random people in our other ventures,
right? Yeah,
said that they started playing that after Dan was too.
Yeah, it's since I also played Mech Assault as a kid, I haven't done any other BattleTech. I really didn't even know that it was a franchise, so I got into it, and I'm having a lot of fun with that. And I'm not playing this right now. I still need to get it, but I'm planning on playing the Metroid Prime remake and remaster.
Cool.
I
heard about that coming out very recently.
Yeah, and it's sort of one of those games that in my mind, just the graphics were always perfect. And whenever I heard it released, I was like, that game doesn't need a remaster. It looks perfect already. And it sort of reminds me of like some other people who like grew up with Doom or something, who thought that, this is just, nothing can get better than this.
Yeah.
They always see it as just the pinnacle of graphics, and I suddenly feel old now.
So. I remember when Resident Evil 4 released the first time, and I remember being like, oh man, this game is like the coolest graphics ever. Leon, help me. Has like the coolest graphics ever. And now we're on like the 12th release is coming out of Resident Evil 4 remake now.
Yeah.
Pre-ordered it already. Getting the Steelbook
I
edition.
I honestly don't know if I'll get it or not. I probably will. But
I was really skeptical at first, but it actually looks like they put some time in, and like it looks pretty good. I've been impressed. They put on a new trailer this morning, and I was like, all right, this game looks pretty good.
even though you already bought it.
Yeah, you know how many copies I own of that game? Probably like 12. I know I own like PlayStation 2, like the Wii, GameCube. I have a deluxe edition of PlayStation 2.
I'm gonna say something
PlayStation 3,
controversial.
4, 5.
I got a little bit of a bone to pick Resident Evil 4. So,
Leon.
right, honestly, she didn't bother me. Swear to God, I didn't think she was that bad in the game because I knew she was like infamous. I think, racism aside, I think that Resident Evil 5 does what Resident Evil 4 does, but better. I think Resident Evil 5 is a better game. Yeah, and not because Resident Evil 4 is bad. It just built on what Resident Evil 4 did so well. I just think it's an evolution.
Wow.
So I get like why Resident Evil 4 was so seminal, but playing it like later in life without nostalgia goggles, I think that 5 does what 4 does better.
What happened with 4 is why it was such a big deal is because it was like the first game of that kind. Now you get a game like coming out like that every week, but it was just literally like the first game of that, like, I don't know, over the shoulder, like the horror survival type game like that. And that's why it ended up being so big. But, you know, I mean, you get a million games out like that now, so it doesn't stand out too much as much. But like at the time, it was the shit.
Yeah.
And they had the limited edition chainsaw controller that I wanted so bad when I was a kid. I'm going to put a picture of it up. I can't think of a peripheral that would be worse to play a game with. It's literally a chainsaw with like the PlayStation buttons on top.
I will say one, probably not as bad as that, but I think of that I always wanted was Dragon Quest VIII, which is my favorite game I think of all time. Came out with a slime controller. Where, like, do you know what the Dragon Quest slimes look like?
Yeah.
It's a thing that Mike had.
The cute
right?
little.
Yeah. So the controller's buttons were on the butt of the slime. You had to turn it over and hold it like this. But I really wanted one. I don't think it would be bad as a chainsaw, but
No, you got to see a picture of it. It is like abysmal. You can't even
I think
hold
I've
it like
seen
a
it,
regular
but- yeah.
chainsaw. Or something. Like, I don't get how you'd play a game with that.
yeah, but it's
Play it with like the DK bongo drums.
right. Yeah. And then what else, Brennan? You've been playing a certain fighting game.
Oh yeah, the JoJo All Star Battle Adventure R or something. I
Yes.
can't remember the name. It's
Yeah, that's close enough. But that game is sick.
I'm ass at it.
Well, I mean, there's a lot to it. It's such like a cool, unique game, though. I got it when it came out, and I just started playing it again because it's on Game Pass. And we've all been trying it.
It's just-
I think what would be a fun video is having like one of them play it and try to decipher like what the fuck is going on.
that
It's-
would be pretty fun.
more than any other like anime, that is the most what the fuck. Like even someone that like watches anime like you, Lucas,
We
feel
watched a little bit of it, and it's
but if you only watched, you watched like the beginning.
yeah, we watched. I don't remember. It was a while ago, but yeah, we probably watched like the first like season or whatever it was categorized on, like whatever we were watching it on.
I'm telling you, I think good video idea is get one of you guys in a room and just do calm versus calm and like the hardest difficulty and try to commentate about what the fuck is going on because it's crazy, but that game is great, especially if you like
I'd be
JoJo.
like, so which one is JoJo? Is he the very cut shirtless man?
yes.
It's like every character, you know, right? That's all I know about JoJo is it's very homoerotic.
Anyone care about VR yet?
I-
They came out with the PlayStation VR 2 the other day, and of course my brother bought it because he buys like everything, and I go, dude, it's so sick, you gotta come over. I will say, big Resident Evil guy. Don't know if you heard.
Is
but-
it a village?
Yeah, they did 8, but they did it in the style. They did a Resident Evil 4 like this too for the Quest not too long ago. Your guns are actually on your hip, and you have to pull out your gun, like put the clip in, like cock the gun, and your grenades you have to like pull off your belt and pull like the pins out. You have to like
wow.
physically do all the actions. And I was
It's
like,
not. It's not like the same game. It's not like Resident Evil 7 where it's like
where
the
you
whole
just
game
play it.
translated. Yeah.
It's you physically you like you can open up Ethan's coat and like you have to like grab the medical stuff inside
Dude,
and dump it on
Chris,
you. And,
Chris Redfield nightmare difficulty. you're gonna like learn how to tactically reload an AK. You're gonna be like bumping out the mag. You're gonna be watching Sonny Puzikas clips. Like
then you run straight into your wall.
going like this. Like,
How many people are seriously just gonna like break their coffee table, run straight into the wall?
Yeah.
Like,
Or just like go up to Lady Dimitrescu and just like lay down like. Oh.
you know,
Run
people
out.
are gonna look up there immediately.
Yeah, just
run
like.
out, toss the AK over the shoulder, pull out the Glock. Bop, 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 bop. Bop, bop, bop.
Do you remember the mental breakdown when you watched me play
Oh,
that
yeah.
on Village of Shadows difficulty, and I was like sweating?
That's what I meant. Village of Shadows. Yeah.
Where I temporarily forgot that like there was an entire second half of the map that I wasn't using, and I was trying to like stay right where the enemies spawn and kill them all,
Yeah.
and I was like losing my mind. It was 2 hours of me doing this part.
Yeah, I watched you play Nightmare. You have that recorded somewhere.
Yeah, it's on the original
And
channel.
you used the Magnum with unlimited ammo for the whole run, except for that Chris Redfield section. And
You
when
don't
that
get the unlimited
when
ammo.
that section came up, you were like, "Fuck me!"
Now all of a sudden it's hard. I come up the best gun in the game with unlimited ammo.
It's even still hard with the like infinite magnum
It
because you get
is,
that
yeah.
rush in the beginning of the game too, and you really get a feel of how hard that Village of Shadows is. But
It is, yeah.
I have a just sadistic quest for myself where I have to beat every Resident Evil on the hardest difficulty. It's the only game that I do that with.
I
If
used
you're
to.
using the infinite ammo magnum, like how hard of a quest is it?
It's still hard. Dude, I got the Jill Valentine Inferno trophy, which I brag
Everyone
about.
dies in like one hit.
Doesn't matter. You have to beat it in under 2 hours. You can. They do a lot of stuff where you can only save the game like 3 times or something. Also, so if you die, you go back like 2 hours.
Yeah, that's annoying.
But yeah, anyone playing the new Harry Potter game or Hogwarts Legacy?
Are we allowed to talk about that?
I'm not touching this.
Canceled.
Hey,
Brendan, turn down my mic. Okay, I'm not touching this.
I played it controversy side or whatever. I don't really pay attention to that. The game itself is decent. You get to go to Hogwarts. Who doesn't like Hogwarts?
Yeah, I mean, you've been enjoying it.
Yeah, it's not bad.
Yeah.
I wouldn't call it the best game I've ever played, but like it's like
I will say the trailers and stuff. It looks good.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's not the end all be all, but
Crucio.
oh my god.
Hello, I'm Bubble.
Bob, how do you feel about J.K. Rowling?
Why is he always on point with what we ask him? It's ridiculous.
You want to tell the story
Tell them the story.
about playing D&D?
So about this Babu Frick, Craig brings me back a Babu Frick from Disneyland out in California, and we're playing a tabletop RPG session. If we haven't talked about it before, we play we all get together. There's a few more of us. We play Fantasy Flight games, Star Wars tabletop. Right now we're running a Clone Wars campaign. And they met a group of pirates, and one of the pirates is like a Frick, and he has like a ship full of droids. And so 2 of the characters in the game go to talk to, his name's not Babu Frick, but I made his last name Frick because they couldn't, So they go to talk to Captain Frick, and I put this on the table, and I just made this answer every question that they asked. I just pressed the button and let that be the answer. And they asked like 9 questions in a row, and he answered like perfectly for every single one. Like somehow he doesn't say words.
We thought he'd like only did his phrases in like a sequence, like here's phrase
Yeah.
1, phrase
He
2.
doesn't.
No, he skipped around and he like purposely he even repeated phrases at the perfect time.
Yep.
Where you're like, okay, he said that last time. He's not going to say it again. Oh my god.
He did it like it wouldn't stop. He did it like 9 times in a row, and I remember it was playing. Someone was in the shitter. Okay, someone who wasn't up to play. Someone was in the bathroom. Lucas was sitting right there, and I remember you stood up at one point and you were like, "That fucking thing is listening to us. That fucking thing is listening." And the person who was taking a crap came in like 10 minutes later after we were all freaking out, and they come in and they're like, "Dude, I heard that fucking Babu Frick out there." He's like, "I heard him. How did that answer everything so accurately?"
Welcome to the Pretty Creepy podcast with the possessed Babu Frick
Yeah,
dog.
He's possessed, but I think he's a friend.
yeah.
Yeah.
He's cool.
Yeah,
He's
I
cool.
think he's a
That's
friend.
what happened with Annabelle. She was friendly at first. They let her live in the doll. Then she haunted.
Oh shit,
I'll take the risks.
he's too cute.
Frick is one of my favorite words. Do you remember
Yeah.
when that was like the most hardcore thing you could say in
freaking
6th grade? You freaking fricks.
So because this is pretty good, I have a bone to pick. Okay, so you would say the word frick or freak, right? When you were a kid,
fricker.
like friggin', I can't believe that frickin' thing. And I would say that. Now, my aunt would do this, and she's not the only one, because I was talking to Alyssa about this, and apparently her parents were like this, so I'm curious to see what you guys' experience are. My aunt, I had one aunt that would always yell at me and my cousins when we said frick, and I would be like, "But I'm just saying frick," and she'd be like, "But I know what word you're trying to say." Why I'm calling bullshit on that? there's a lot of words that you put in place of swear words.
Yeah.
That you use as a kid. Dang, heck, fudge, shoot, right? We all know what that's filling in for, yet I never got yelled at for using any of those, just frick.
By that logic, his name is Babu Fuck.
Right, exactly.
You think somewhere in the writer's room they're like,
Babu fuck.
And then the Rise of Skywalker porn parody. Yeah, Babu Fuck.
you fricker.
That story did remind me though. I was Dan.
Did anybody get that experience? Did anybody get yelled at for saying frick?
Probably.
I saw it. It wasn't anyone. I was in class one day and some kid was like, oh, frick. And the teacher did that. Like, I know exactly what you're trying to say. Why don't you just say it? And he goes, fuck. And then she goes, detention now. Like, principal's office now.
You asked him.
Yeah,
like,
it was like he was given permission.
yeah.
I'll never forget 4th grade telling I was talking to the guy next to me and I said you suck, or that sucks, I think is what I said. And I missed recess that day because the teacher's like, you can't be saying that. I'm like, sucks? The bitch had it out for me. No,
Yeah.
I may have only been 10, but she had it out for me.
Right. I think it was also in 4th grade. Dan on our podcast. I think it was a birthday party that was Casino Royale themed.
Oh, yeah.
And we stayed over his house, and we were all some dude that I think he left our school the next year or something. He like dared everybody to say fuck, and I didn't want to do it. And everyone was scared to say it,
Pussy.
which is like the most like 4th grade boy experience.
Yo, just say it. Just say it.
And I was like, my mom's gonna find out.
Yeah. I don't want to get in trouble. Yeah.
I love, in 6th grade, we used to play soccer every day too. And we had this real old teacher. He was like, 70 years old, about to retire. And he was like, you guys are, almost in junior high. We're going to take you outside. And it was like rainy as shit that day. Everything's super muddy. And he's like, you can play on the blacktop only. He's like, I don't want to see anyone put their foot on the grass. So naturally what happens? Someone kicks the soccer ball into the grass. So I
Right.
go over, I'm like, broski, frickin' let me go get that ball. And he goes, okay. But if you fall, it's your own fault. 30 seconds later, I come back to him covered head to toe in mud, all down my ass. Like, it went into my pants. I did like a cartoon slip where I took one step on the mud and just went,
Like a slide whistle played.
that dude, and like I commend him for it. He made me sit on paper towels the rest of the day in class.
You had to absorb the own risk there. I
Yo.
kind of respect that he did that.
Take me back, man. Take me back to the freaking good days. So how was everyone? How was the Super Bowl for everyone?
Oh, well, I think 3 of us hung out together
Well, yeah,
right here.
I'm making content.
Yeah. Yeah, we went over to our buddy Jordan's house. Not a big deal. Not that he's famous or anything. We went over to our buddy Jordan's house and we watched the Super Bowl. The big game, as it were. Chiefs versus Eagles.
Could
and,
not care less between either of them.
It was a fun game. I was,
What about that bullshit call at the end?
So here's the deal. I'm a Steelers fan, first and foremost, but I was letting Fly Eagles fly. Number 1, PA solidarity. Number 2, I'm already sick of the fucking Chiefs. I'm sick of it. And you look at all the shit that's coming out now. Like, Netflix filmed a documentary with, like, Patrick Mahomes. And Travis Kelce ends up on, like, The Tonight Show. And I'm just like, I am so sick of these fucking guys already.
Freaking guys.
I'm sick of this freaking dynasty already.
I can't stand when I'm scrolling through my like feed, and in between all my Jenna Ortega posts, I come across a fucking Patrick Mahomes.
So it was a really good game, maybe the best like Super Bowl in a while, like super competitive.
Super Bowl.
Yeah, Super a Bowl. But yeah, the refs making a call at the end of the game. It was a holding call on Juju, Boo Boo Schuster. And at the time it was kind of very questionable. It was the end of the game and it set basically all it did was Chiefs were going to score regardless. But the Eagles probably would have had like a little under 2 minutes to get on go offense on the field. And instead what happened is the Chiefs were able to like kneel the game out and then kick the field goal and not give the Eagles back.
Boring.
I think it pissed me off, and I think the people it did piss off is that we wanted to see that ending. You know, I wanted to see Jalen Hurts get the ball back, see if he could take it down the field. But instead we got like the kneel out ending, and it was a holding. Like, you watch the play, he held the jersey pretty egregiously. You get into this argument. I think what's lame is to watch a really competitive Super Bowl end on a holding call, because everybody brings this up every game, and you only say it if your team loses, right? I don't really have a dog in this fight. I don't really care who wins this game. Holding is on every play.
Right.
Holding happens every play of football. Everybody knows that. And the ref is only supposed to call it when it really affects the play. Now, you could argue Juju was the guy Patrick was targeting, okay? And he's the guy that gets held. But on the other hand, the ball soars way over his head into the back of the end zone. Juju's not even close. It's probably not a catchable ball. So, was it egregious enough that it warrants the ref deciding who wins the Super Bowl, basically? Because that holding call decided the game, essentially. Aside from the Chiefs kicker having to kick a field goal, he could have missed and it would have gone in overtime. But assuming that the kicker can make it from like 10 yards, which is pretty likely, the refs kind of decided the game, and I think that's where people got upset. I know that's where I got upset, and in our group chat, though, I just like to stir the pot. We have some Eagles fans, and we have some Chiefs fans, and we have some Chiefs haters. So I just loved like posting all of the ref memes, like ref dressed in Chiefs gear and stuff. Just to get.
So you hate the Chiefs. Scott loves the Chiefs.
Right,
Scott
hates the Chiefs.
Patrick Mahomes.
I love just stirring that pot. So it was juicy. Yeah, that was my experience. Oh, and Rihanna came out and she was pregnant. It's not mine.
Do you think they knew about that when they booked her for the halftime show?
That's a great question.
Yeah, I've asked myself that. I think maybe they're trying to make a statement. I don't know. But I think she did, for what she had to work with, I think she did well.
Yeah, she did fine. But I imagine, like, if I was... about to sound like a jackass here.
Yeah.
If I was pregnant, I probably wouldn't want to do a halftime show and suspended on a thing above the crowd.
I was saying during it, I didn't know how far along she was, but I was like, I hope she gives birth. I was like, because
the stage, the kid comes out.
Oh, that was part of the performance. She's like,
and the kid's like, it would go from being like an okay halftime show to like the most memorable one since the Janet Jackson titty, you know. So
how crazy it'd be? She lays down, kid pops out, picks the microphone, goes, "Rude boy, is you big enough?"
Would be legendary. My only complaint, and Rihanna, I hope you're listening.
Come on the podcast.
We didn't get any "Shut Up and Drive." What the fuck? No, "Shut Up and Drive." Fun fact: I thought that was like Rihanna's first song. That song is on the same album as Disturbia. Wild. Anyways, those are my thoughts.
Yeah, Super Bowl.
Not my child.
Super Bowl, man.
I also, only I'll add is Juju is behaving exactly how I expected him to behave, which is like really unfortunate.
The Steelers wide receiver curse.
Which is like so for those who maybe don't know.
Yeah.
After that, Juju was obviously part of that play, and he made he called out the dude who held him, which is just super unprofessional. Like at that level, like I don't know if we've ever seen. I mean, he didn't kill anybody, but like I don't think we've ever seen a.
It's the worst thing any NFL player's ever done.
Right. Put it in perspective, but I don't think we've ever seen like a Super Bowl winner gloat to like a loser like that. And what's so shitty is like Juju's career like really took a hit. He wasn't terrible, but he's no longer like the guy like he was in Pittsburgh. And you think that would humble him, but as soon as he gets relevance, he didn't even catch the fucking ball.
No.
And he's talking shit, and he's not just like, this was just a joke, I'm sorry. He's like doubling down and like talking shit on all these Eagles players, and it's
he's like you fricks.
Yeah, and it's like, dude, you really didn't learn anything. Like be humble that you're in that situation, and it just sucks because you think he would be different than how he was in Pittsburgh, but obviously not.
Just goes to show being a good guy in life gets you nowhere. That's why you have to be an asshole.
Do you guys get old people injuries yet? I know I've been bitching about it all day. I was laying in bed this morning.
I related to your story very much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It like doesn't happen to me that often, but I was laying in bed this morning, all nice and comfy. I got to sleep until like 10, privilege. And then I go to get up and I do that like sit up, pulled a muscle in my neck sitting up this morning. And like to the point where I was like, looked like a robot. I couldn't turn my neck. And I was like, this is the worst. And took some ibuprofen today. And it is still just like killing me. What's the worst old person injury?
I'll tell one about myself, and then I actually have a funny story that most of you guys know already. So one about myself was we were loading stuff up into my dad's truck the other day, and it's not heavy. It's just a box. Okay, it's a box filled with like maybe some books or something. I went to push this box back in the truck, and I'm pushing it, and it meets a little resistance, so I push it a little harder. I felt like I tore my fucking pec. It hurt so bad, and I was fine. Like I was like, oh, I looked around to make sure nobody saw, and I was like, oh my fucking god, like under my breath, oh my freaking god,
Oh my frick.
oh my freaking gosh, and I'm rubbing my pec. It for like 2 seconds, it felt like I had like severed my pec from my body. Like I was like, oh my god, that hurts so bad. And I said to myself like, damn, I'm getting fucking old, yo. Like it just if I don't stretch out before I'm pushing the box back, and it hits you because like you learn the lesson with some harder physical activity like running or something like that. I know I gotta stretch.
It's weird for
beforehand.
me right now because I'm back on like my physical kick where I'm lifting in the gym like every other day and I'm running, and that stuff doesn't make me tired or anything. It's when I like fucking get up too hard and blow out a muscle in my neck.
Go up the stairs too fast.
Yeah.
The funny story I wanted to tell was that I don't know if I should say his last name, but Alex D from our school. You guys will know him as Mr. Stock. You know what I'm talking about. And there's a story where there was this rumor going around. Everybody's like, Alex got injured during like sex in the shower or something.
I remember this.
We're in like 11th grade, okay, and he's like, Alex got injured having sex in the shower with his girlfriend, and then I remember talking to him. He's in a cast. He dislocated his shoulder, and everybody's talking about like he was holding her up in the shower and fucking her, freaking her. And so the real story, I talked to Alex and I'm like, yo, so what's the deal with your arm? Like I didn't prompt him or anything. I just asked like, what's the deal with your shoulder? And he's like, Alex talking, he's like, oh yeah, so I threw a towel around me too fast and I ripped my shoulder out.
Dude, you should hear the stories they're telling.
And I was like, you know what they're saying, and he's like, yeah, I just kind of let that, just let that story go. Like, why not?
I was freaking too hard.
It's freaking too hard. He threw a towel around himself like too quick and just like ripped that bad boy. I was like, that is hilarious, dude. He's not the only guy I know who did that. Our buddy Rick did that too.
It's so funny how like,
But Rick didn't have like the rumor mill going around that he pulled it having stand-up sex.
it's like, oh, he sneezed too hard.
Johnny Sins and Cherry DeVille, like sex in the shower.
It's just funny because I've been thinking about it more too, because the human body, people can like lift heavy ass weights, like people deadlift, squat. I see it all over my like feed, and then you like sneeze once and you blow out your like asshole.
Oh, dude. Yeah, I know what you mean.
I got right now a foot thing going on. You guys want to see it?
Yeah.
I'll pull it. No, I got like these weird bumps. It's really not that gross. I just don't know what's going on. My toes are like swollen, and the bumps are now like going to different parts of my foot.
Yeah.
So I'm a little worried.
Cut it off.
Someone's gonna be watching. They're gonna be like, "Craig has a terminal illness."
Yeah. So by the time this comes up, hopefully it's either gone or I know what it is.
Can we see? Is it on your OnlyFans for your feet?
Yes, it is on my only fricks.
My only fricks.
Yeah, so I'm battling that.
Doesn't miss, man. That's
I don't know if it's an old person or just I don't know.
You know what I'm getting more as I'm like getting older too. Do you think about more like mortality more as you get older? I feel like I ignored it as a kid.
I mean, it's more relevant. I think it only becomes more relevant because you actually start to like lose some people in your life.
Yeah,
I
I
don't
mean,
mean
we
to get
had-
depressing. This is a
Yeah.
fun podcast, but you brought it up.
I mean,
like,
we've had people like that we went to school with and stuff. That are, there's like 4 of
and
them
people,
that are like
and that doesn't even count.
that passed. Yeah,
Like, I don't know most of those people.
yeah, and you get
but,
like your older family members start like passing, and
So
like, as you get older,
I
you're
thought
like,
about it more. Yeah.
Yeah, it just like starts coming in a little bit more.
Yeah.
Yeah, Brendan, any thoughts on injuries or death?
Jesus.
None that I'm willing to share.
Yeah. Not on the fun podcast.
All right, The Last of Us TV show.
That's a good. I wanted to bring that up because.
So far, so good.
Yeah.
I've been enjoying the show.
Has everybody been watching it? Have you watched The Last of Us at all, Brent?
No. I
Okay.
haven't.
Fuck no.
Because it's
My mission is to gatekeep my family from The Last of Us, and it's not succeeding.
So
'Cause I
Craig-
keep watching this show.
Craig is Craig won't watch it because it's too popular right now.
Yeah.
Craig, he'll do the thing that I do with video games. That's why I feel comfortable calling him out on it because it's like, well, I'm playing Fallout New Vegas right now, and Lucas is like, yeah, I played that. Like everybody played that 10 years ago.
2009 or whatever it
Congrats.
came out.
And Craig will do the same thing with TV shows. Like
I think for me, it just TV shows are such a time commitment, and there's so
Yeah.
much stuff I'd rather like do than like a TV show that like is in my backlogs.
And-
but
I will admit, you and I have very similar Twitter feeds, Craig, and social media is, I'm going to sound like a fucking boomer here, but a freaking boomer, but it is the truth,
man.
Social media is like kind of abhorrent when it comes to like the hot TV show or the hot movie. Like,
you don't need to watch it. Like The Mandalorian, I know
Yes.
everything that happens in it because everyone talks about it the next
and
day.
it is,
I know everything that happens in The Last of Us because it's based off a video game made by Sony.
Well, you didn't know
That
that they
was
were
for the
going to go to.
PlayStation.
You didn't know they were going to Kansas frickin' City.
That's
and not,
bullshit.
That pissed me
fricked
off.
us. They fricked us.
that's bullshit.
Yeah, I thought they were going to go to Fuck Park in Pittsburgh.
That was
What is
good.
it? Is
Not
that named
everybody's
after-
going to get that, but that was good.
We have a park named Frick Park, which is funny as shit. Is that named after someone?
I don't know. I would try to
think
not
it
say
is.
the name of the park in front of my parents without they get mad at
No,
me.
William Pitt fricked an Amish girl there.
William
A
Frick.
Quaker, sorry. Fricked a Quaker girl there.
Yeah. The
George Washington was born.
yeah. Anyway,
Shout out.
that show, the name Last of Us is very not boomer friendly. Like, I don't know if my parents are considered boomers, but my parents have called it The Rest of Us, This Is Us. They really struggle with that name. So maybe they should have changed it. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm enjoying it so far. My wife,
My
Melissa, Last of Us is like her favorite games, and she especially actually likes Last of Us 2 even more, which is controversial.
I imagine they're just going to continue straight through.
I can't wait.
They're pretty far, aren't they? Because the scene that I saw, like, I thought there would be like I thought Pittsburgh would be like the end of this season.
Yeah, there's like 8 episodes total, and they're like,
Dude.
what, episode 6 or something?
I-
Like, it's going to end by 8.
I
for like
cannot
the first game.
fucking wait because this is currently like the biggest show in the country. Like, its viewership is higher.
I know
than
so
House
many
of-
people don't know what's going to happen.
is higher than House of the Dragon. And I remember it was only a few years ago when Last of Us 2 came out. I don't even play the fucking games. The shitstorm that was the internet. Like, The Last of Us 2, I can only comp it to like The Last Jedi, basically. Like, in that you just had like everyone on the internet fighting about it, and like no one was the good guy. You know what I
well-
mean? I looked at it and I was like, it's just a video game. I don't want any part of this. Like,
I will say this: unlike the Last Jedi discourse, I don't think you have to like the Last of Us Part 2 as a game. However, I have not heard any criticism of the story that is not freaking stupid. Like, every time I've seen someone complain about the game, it's either because
a
they
girl has muscles.
or they have a baby brain and they don't understand like what the game is trying to do. So you don't have to like it, but people that are
mean-
like the story is bad are just dumb.
I feel like before Lucas speaks up, I will say, as someone who has not played the game and who has observed all this from a third perspective, I did watch Alyssa play it all the way through. I had no idea what happened in the first game when I watched her play it. So I didn't have the emotional reaction a lot of people do because I'm not going to spoil it because we were just talking about spoilers, even though you can Google it. A very specific character who everybody loves dies in The Last of Us 2 in a pretty awful, gruesome way. And then they kind of flip. I don't want to spoil anything too much. You should play the game if you haven't. But they flip the script on you in a certain way. It's very emotional, and I think that is what the majority of people hate about the game. It's very similar to the Luke Skywalker comp of The Last Jedi, where I think the buzz you hear on the internet from the people that are just trying to garner views is like all this side stuff. I think the biggest thing people don't like is that like Luke Skywalker like gave up and is like not a good guy in The Last Jedi for most of the movie. And I think the death that happens at the beginning of Last of Us 2 is the reason that most people don't like the game. And everybody piling on about, Abby having muscles and, there being a gay, there being gay people or whatever. I never think that that's the majority of people. I like to think it's not, because most people aren't terminally online weirdos.
Yeah.
Most people are just like playing the game, and you might roll your eyes or something, but
there's a lot of people that you will see that call The Last of Us like a disaster. Like you'll see that comment a lot. The Last of Us Part 2 comes up and be like, oh well, at least it's not The Last of Us Part 2, a total failure. Okay, let's just assume you're not talking about the story. Gameplay wise, are there any criticisms? Like graphic wise, are there any criticisms? No. Like
that's why I can't wait. The instigator in me, I was talking about dropping cheese memes to stir the pot. The instigator in me, this show is so popular, and the storyline in the first game is so much more conventional than what happens in the second one. Like people like your parents and my parents are watching it and they're loving it so far, and I'm like, I can't wait.
They're gonna be watching it and go, frick, man.
The stuff that our generation did, like a few years ago when it came out, we're about to see all of the old people get to have that moment. All your parents are going to get to have that moment where they're like, this is fucking bullshit. Now we're following this chick? I don't like this,
I will say a couple things with my family. So I am it's taking all of my effort.
Yeah.
My sister, and I'm going to spoil the Red Wedding in Game of Thrones, my frick-ass sister. We were on like vacation, like a family vacation. I was watching Game of Thrones.
Excuse me, you mean frick butt?
Sorry, frick butt sister. And she was asking how far I was, and she was like, and I was like, I don't know, like I don't know what to tell you how far I am. And she's like, how's Robert Stark? And I was like, fine. Who's it?
No, Robert Stark. Yeah,
okay.
You're right.
Okay. And I was like, I don't know. And she's like, is he alive? And I was like, Erica, what the fuck? Like obviously, okay,
There can only be one other thing.
yeah, like, are you kidding me? And so I was like, and I hadn't seen the Red Wedding
What else
yet,
can you
so I'm
say
like,
but maybe?
yeah, and it's like,
Oh, she spoiled it for you.
yeah, she asked me, is Robert Stark still alive? And I'm like, Erica, are you fucking kidding me?
Yeah.
So I'm sitting here on this Last of Us spoiler. Oh my
Yeah.
god, I really just want to fucking unleash it.
Get that revenge.
Yeah, but I did show my family gameplay. I showed them two things. I showed them like a cool gameplay of Ellie just like fucking murking people,
Yeah.
and my family thought it was cool. And they kind of like guessed, oh, is this the situation? And I was like, oh. But I also showed them dads love this. I showed them, someone had a comparison video of The Last of Us Part 1 in Pittsburgh to like the real locations. Mom and dad were like, oh, wow, that's so cool, because they like love seeing Pittsburgh stuff. I showed them like the pit and stuff and everything. So your parents will love that if they like The Last of Us, is the comparison.
Lucas, your thoughts on The Last of Us Part 2?
It was all right. I'm just kind of impartial to it.
I remember you didn't like the game.
I don't think I finished it, honestly. I like played through most of it, and I was just like, I wasn't like strong opinion either way. The gameplay was fantastic, but I also feel like I just played the first one right before that. Like I might have played that for like the first time all the way through, and then I beat the first one on like hardened difficulty or whatever it was, and then I played the second game, and I think I was just burnt out of The Last of Us at that point too. I should probably go back and finish that game. Like I know
you should
the whole
play
story.
The Last of Us Part 1. I haven't bought it, but it's the remake.
Yeah.
Remake.
Yeah,
Shout
the
out to
remake's
Troy
cool.
Baker.
I hate companies
the
that
pod.
just continually remake the same games.
Shout out
Can you
to
imagine a company that
Ashley
just takes all
Johnson,
their own
Laura
games
Bailey.
and just keeps
on the
remaking
pod.
them?
Sorry.
Like Capcom. Yeah, Brendan, do you have any Last of Us thoughts?
I haven't played the games, so
Okay. Show.
Do
Have
you,
watched-
um,
oh yeah, you said you didn't watch the show.
Do you hate women and potential trans people? Because in that case, I would not play the game.
Then I got a game for you.
Yeah.
No, I do appreciate that The Last of Us show because it's, as someone who's seen every Resident Evil movie and they're all abysmal, and the Netflix show got canceled in like one season because it was so far from any source material. They're really sticking mainly to the source material in The Last of Us, and I just appreciate that.
They are, yeah. They're staying very dedicated, and it's been good so far. I like it. I would, even kind of knowing what happens I don't know a lot of what happens in the first game. Like I know how it ends. Basically, I didn't watch Alyssa play that one.
The thing that sucks is anytime you translate something to a show or TV, there's so much like details.
Oh,
'Cause,
yeah.
a game's like 12 hours playthrough.
Yeah.
You can only fit so much of that into like a TV show. So there's so many points where I'm like, oh, I wish they would have like did this, but it doesn't make sense to translate it to
Although
a
what's
show.
really weird with The Last of Us, I don't think I've seen this from like almost any other adaptation, is they're copying scenes from the game verbatim.
Yes.
Like IGN will always put out
Yeah.
these videos where it's like this is the same script, which I think is a little bit weird. Like I think it's fine to have the same scene, but like to read the script, I think is a little off-putting. But whatever.
Yeah, there's definitely times where it's like word for word, and I'm like, that is like the exact line from the game.
Although I do think it's cool. People on PC are making mods to put Bella Ramsey on the
that's
model
cool.
for Ellie.
That's
I think the Joel one would be like awesome, or if it was like official.
Yeah.
I think that would be super cool because that's part of the reason they came out with Last of Us Part 1. I think is like, oh, people are gonna want to.
that'd be a good idea if they made a remake of The Last of Us 1.
You know why they remade The Last of Us 1? Money.
Yeah.
Well, while we're on the topic of TV shows, we have two figures here on the table with us. We have the Baby Yoda, that's his name, and we have Mr. Frick, Babu Fuck, Babu Fuck himself. The new season of The Mandalorian's coming out March 1st. Now, everybody, and their mother watches, literally, and their mom watches Mandalorian. Craig, you've been catching up on The Mandalorian, have you not?
Yeah, I'm working my way
Baby
through
Yoda
season
dies.
1. I know pretty much
It's
everything
like
that
a
happens.
cake. I put my knife through his head. Just
I have some.
get a slice.
That stupid show, Is It Cake? He was actually cake the whole season of The Mandalorian. And they cut him.
Little lightsaber. Yeah. So my thoughts. I'm on episode. I'm going to say 6. Return of the Mandalorian. No, I'm on episode 6 of season 1. So I slowed down a little bit because I've been reading a lot of Star Wars books, but I like the direction of like a new Star Wars show. I like the score a lot. I think it's really cool that we have a new Star Wars score that is not a riff on anything in the original trilogy. It's like totally unique. I think that's awesome, and it matches the vibe
And it's good.
of the show.
Yeah.
The acting I think is very not good. I think that Gina Carano, Thank yeah, Gina Carano. I'm trying to separate the art from the artist. I don't want to say there's a reason she's only doing like Daily Wire movies right now.
Well, they cut.
Yeah,
they
she's
cut her.
off the show.
Yeah, they.
Well,
cut
yeah,
her.
I know, but she's.
You're
don't know.
telling me the Carl Weathers isn't putting up that A1 shit?
He's doing okay. It's mainly like the other people. Like I just watched the episode where they have the little village and they're teaching everyone how to fight. And the acting there is like very bad.
Boy, couple weeks from now, fam, when Mandalorian comes out this new season, hard time to be a Pedro Pascal hater, I must say. He's gonna be all over your timeline. He's Joel and he's the fucking Mando, and he's allowed to take his helmet off now. So
Yeah.
hard time to be a Pedro hater. It is what it is. I will say The Mandalorian season 1, when it came out, at the time that it came out, I really loved it. It felt more like old school Star Wars, and I feel like it's just because it's, I don't know, I feel like I was so done with all the Star Wars movies at that point. I was just fucking so sick of it, and I thought it was really good. And then season 2, it's fine. I was just like, it's just more of it. And then fucking spoilers, Luke Skywalker shows up at the end of season 2, and I'm like, and it pisses. They won't just cast.
That's always season 1.
No, that's the end of season 2. They won't just cast someone else to play Luke Skywalker now. Like, let's be real. Speaking for everybody, on behalf of everybody, because I know I have the right opinion here.
Yeah, Mr. I play Fallout New Vegas in
Right.
2023.
I want to see the era of Luke Skywalker with like the Jedi Temple and like where they're rebuilding the New Republic, like is in the Thrawn trilogy and stuff like that. I want to see that. They need to have the balls. They just need to do it. Just fucking cast new people as Han, Luke, and Leia.
Yeah, because
Just
Well, they did in Solo, and they blamed that for why it didn't do that.
but this
well.
is just such bullshit.
Yeah.
Like that's not at
not
all.
why
That movie
Yeah.
was fine. I went into
I
that
think
movie
so
with
too,
so
yeah.
low expectations, and I was like, this movie's all right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I agree as well. I was like, I usually am cynical with Star Wars, and I thought that was fine. And what I thought was interesting is reading those Thrawn books. One of the covers of the books that I bought, they'll have like illustrations or whatever. And there was this guy that's clearly not Mark Hamill, but he still had the vibe of Luke Skywalker. You can find these people that exist. It doesn't have to be like Timothée Chalamet, this iconic actor. Get a no name that's a good actor, and there's the vibe of Luke Skywalker, kind of like with the New Hope. And
So one person we brought up earlier, how what was it? Sebastian Stan has either like voiced or played Darth Vader in the suit or something at some point. That's because Sebastian Stan looks a lot like young Mark Hamill, and he's already a guy on the Disney payroll. He's the Winter Soldier for all you nerds out there, and
Nerd Crew.
yeah, the nerd crew, and he could play a young Mark Hamill. Like
No, I want Mark Hamill to live to be 140, and they're still casting him as Luke. He walks in like a living skeleton. He goes, "I'm Luke."
it's like we see that trailer for the new Indiana
He's
Jones.
20-year-old Luke Skywalker.
Yeah.
And I love Mark Hamill. It's just at a certain point, like you either got the creepy, CGI where your eyes are kind of like, oh, it's not totally real, or you have just a new fucking guy playing it. It's not a big deal. It's just he's a character, guys. Like Mark Hamill, he's not gonna be around forever. You know what I mean? Like Carrie Fisher's gone. Harrison Ford ain't gonna be around forever. Like if they're gonna keep making these movies, like
What did they just sign
you
Harrison
either
Ford to
need-
play?
Indiana Jones. We'll get to that in
Oh
a
my
second.
god! Yeah.
You either are gonna have a world where they just recast these people, or you're gonna have the AI CGI nightmare that is inevitable. That's gonna be what happens because that's the worst timeline.
The entire cast is just 100 years old, all
Yeah.
with 20-year-old skins over
Well,
them.
I heard that's what Bruce Willis did because he was unfortunately diagnosed with dementia.
Mm-hmm.
He's already signed away his right where his family, like, they can just put him digitally in movies and his family can get paid,
Yep.
which is like that's art right there.
Indiana Jones. Seeing Harrison Ford, I don't even have any nostalgic like value with Indiana. I didn't
No.
watch it when I was a kid. Seeing Harrison Ford show up in the Indiana Jones trailer, he's like 90 years old, and I know he's cool. He's a cool guy. He's funny. Seeing him show up, it's just like the most illustrative thing. It's the most depressing thing for the series because it's like, here we are dragging up this old
Corpse.
fossil. Yeah, this corpse again, basically. Like,
Can't wait till he hits on a 22-year-old girl. And
yeah.
Those scenes of him teaching are gonna get really creepy.
Yeah.
Like the women, the girls.
Yeah, and
like
the
it.
girls are like flirting with it. Yeah.
Yeah. He's gonna get arrested for. He's gonna get Me Too'd. That's the plot of the movie.
Indiana Jones, Me Too.
Indiana Jones and the 27 Liars.
Indiana Jones and the frickin' fricks.
The freaking frigs.
Yeah, and it's like we've already. I heard this on the Mega 64 podcast. Actually, they were talking about it, and they're like, we have this story of like the comeback, and he was pushing in the Crystal Skull. He was pushing a little close to the edge. Some would
Is that
say
the one with the
he was
aliens?
too old. Yes.
So,
Spoiler.
Lucas, why do you think they're making a new Indiana Jones movie?
Money.
Money.
Yeah.
I have a question. Have you guys ever taken like pre-workout for like going to the gym?
No, I don't get into like caffeine or anything.
I have, yes.
So I got, as I said, I'm getting back in like the gym and stuff again, and I bought like the usual, just like weak C4 shit. There was this company, they totally got me, scammed me, not really, but it was like one of those like, oh, try our free samples for free, just pay the shipping. It was like $3, and I got like a thing and like the shaker with it, and I was like, cool, because I needed a new shaker bottle anyway. And I tried this the other day before my workout, and my entire face, like, it felt like it had ants on it. The only way I can describe it is my mustache hurt. The top of my head felt like I could just pop it off like a Lego piece.
Jeez.
And I was like,
That's how you know it's working.
yeah, I was like, what the fuck is in this? I had more energy than I ever had in my life.
So that
It was
Like,
probably
hey,
not FDA
Gotta get
approved.
the ants out.
that infamous story where I skipped class on a Friday and I drove to your place to see you, RJ, and Tim.
Yeah.
And it was during Hurricane Matthew. It was right afterwards. So instead of being able to take like the 1 hour 30-minute straight shot going 80 miles an hour from Raleigh to Havelock,
Did you go through Farmville?
I had to go up through the middle of nowhere. I couldn't go through any major city. They were all flooded on the East Coast. I couldn't go through Greenville if you're a North Carolina native. I had to go like through Bumfuck. I literally went through a place called Farmville. The two major
Freaking
Frick no.
the two major spots I was aiming for were Farmville, and then the other town was literally called Cain, as in Cain from the Bible. Like, you know that who lives there. And before I made that drive, one of the things that got me to do it was I got hyped up with you guys on the phone, and they're like, drive tonight. And of course, everybody fell asleep before I could get there because I had to.
In my defense, I had to go to bed for work.
Well, the hour and a half drive turned into like a 3-hour drive. But I took some pre-workout before that just to get me like amped up, and it worked. I was feeling it until about I hit Cain 2 hours into the trip, and it's like 2 a.m, and I'm like,
Fuck. Frick.
I'm like, gosh dang it.
That shit
nabbit.
works. But yeah, I tried that. Like, that stuff could not have been like FDA approved. I won't even say what company it was, but I've never had before where my mustache just hurt. It's the only way I can describe
Alpha Brain.
it. No. Headspace, man. All right, boys, you ready to wrap it up? We're probably around like an
Yeah,
hour.
I like that.
Stay tuned next time for the old new format of Pretty Good Podcast.
Maybe we'll just do this again. We'll see.
Yeah. Or we'll just riff again and say frick for an hour.
You freaking fricks.
You frickin'. That's from that kid from that Sonic video, isn't
Yes.
it? I love that.
Yeah.
You frickin'
Sammy Sammy Classic Sonic fan.
When will
Yeah.
you learn?
When we
Actions have consequences.
I'm glad that, like, I never uploaded any embarrassing shit like that when I was a kid.
We're just doing it now.
Yeah.
I think that video was ironic.
Hey,
Well, it didn't
I think
come
he's playing
across-
4D chess.
Craig, I'd like you to take us out. Can you tell us your thoughts on Troy Baker?
He
Famous video game actor, Troy Baker.
he's someone that just can't take criticism. He's a mega douche. What did he say about? I forget what exactly it was that he fucking talked about. But I have to organize my thoughts better. But he's just
The Mandalorian, maybe. I don't know. What did he?
I
talk
don't know.
about?
He's a douche. If you have questions, ask me. I'll be glad to elaborate. But
Yeah.
Just not right now.
just not right now. I have to do my research
In the comment section, give us your favorite Troy Baker character.
You know, in the comment, just write frick.
Frick, yes, that is what the comment.
We know
section
what you mean.
It should be Frick, yeah.
Just write frick.
Yeah, you're gonna get in trouble. I know what
what?
you mean.
Don't just say frick. Your favorite frick words. Like, we talked kind of with a few. Like replace fuck, but like something funny.
Dude, you mother fricker.
Yeah, along those
Hey,
lines.
and on that note,
What he said.
Okay.
Stay that.
We'll see you next time.